what is the Steam frame? This week, we saw Valve register a new trademark, and it's massive news, and we're going to talk all about it. Plus, we'll review the most popular games on the Steam Deck, the Steam hardware survey results for August, and a whole lot more. So let's talk about all of this and more in today's Steam Deck and Linux gaming news video. So first up, I want to touch on a few big games. Silksong was released today, and it's by far the biggest gaming news of not just this week or this month, but probably this entire quarter. And why do I say that? Well, I don't think we've ever seen an indie games release bring Steam to its knees, and that seems to be what happened just earlier this morning. Steam was experiencing some intermittent issues, coincidentally the same time that Silksong was released, and I don't know if the outages on Steam had anything to do with Silksong, but it is quite the coincidence. And it's also interesting to note that the announcement of Silksong's release was able to push the original title in the franchise concurrent player base to its highest ever. Thankfully, if Steam is still down by the time you're watching this, you don't need to get into Steam to actually get a copy of the game. You can use my affiliate link below, help support this channel at no additional cost to you, and you can buy it through GOG, and it's DRM free. It helps out the show tremendously. And here's the thing, Silksong is the long-awaited follow-up to Hollow Knight, and I am ready for it. If the trailers are anything to be believed, I'm going to be giving it a spin hopefully this weekend between a wedding and some other projects I'm working on. I'll find some time to play Silksong. Let me know your thoughts for this game down in the description. Then we have Gears of War Reloaded, which I talked about in last week's news video, and I've been playing on my Steam Deck finally. And honestly, I have to say that even after cranking up some of the settings like screen space, reflections, and such, the game works without any performance impact, and it plays at 60 FPS just fine. I've been having an absolute blast going back to the game, although I do have small critiques. I feel like the controls could have been improved in a number of ways that simply just aren't. But that's neither here nor there. Now, of course, if you want to play the game on your desktop or even a modestly more powerful device like a Framework Laptop 13, which, yes, I know I called the 14 in a previous video. I'm dyslexic. I get numbers wrong all the time. My apologies. But anyway, no matter what you play it on, if it's better than the Steam Deck, you're going to get better performance in the game. However, I do want to reiterate that the game is eminently playable on the Steam Deck, and I think that that's super awesome. It's another great title, and despite the fact that it's a Microsoft release, it takes me right back to when I was a young adult playing Gears of War on my 360 around launch day. And man, what a terrific game. So Gaming on Linux is reporting that SplitGate has removed the native Linux client of their game. And this is unfortunate as SplitGate just moved over to player-hosted matches rather than using their centralized server system. And this is due in no small part to what was somewhat of a disastrous launch for SplitGate 2, where the concurrent player count could be comprehensively measured in the dozens. They were originally considering sunsetting SplitGate altogether and forcing players over to the new game, but it seems like they realized that this would just piss off their players even more. So instead, they went to the peer-to-peer model and have had anti-cheat removed from the title as well. Now, as I mentioned, they are retiring the Linux build, which sucks, but I am also not going to cry over a free-to-play online shooter losing Linux support. I know that lots of people like this game, and like online gaming is like the huge thing, but to me, I couldn't care less. Anyway, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts about this game. If you're a SplitGate player, does the Windows client work through Proton? How has your experience changed over the last couple of days? Let me know in the comments, or let me know about any of the stories we've already covered in the video. Okay, next up, if you're in the UK and you want to play your degenerate Gunnar filth on Steam, then you're actually going to have to fork over a credit card detail to Valve. And you might be saying, but Gardiner, I already have a debit card linked to my Steam account. What gives? Well, in the UK and in the US, as it turns out, you must be 18 years old or older in order to be the primary card holder of a credit card. So Valve started collecting credit card details, and they're using that as a roundabout way of verifying you're over 18. In contrast, debit cards in the UK and the US can be issued to folks who are younger, and hence the requirement for a credit card specifically. This is all in reaction to the UK's Online Safety Act, which is an intentional misnomer of a law that requires adult-oriented services to collect personally identifiable information about their users that will inevitably be leaked in a database breach, and thus making you less safe online. And while I can get behind some of the sentiments of this law specifically, the fact of the matter is the implementation is completely bass-backwards and regressive, and Valve's credit card detail requirements seem like a bit of a hack on the Act requirements. And while it's probably one that won't inconvenience many folks who are accustomed to giving over their, credit card or financial details to Valve, I also see this as kind of a problematic move for one simple reason. And Valve's not the only one doing this, but what they are doing is they're offloading the age verification problem to banks. And we don't need banks becoming a source of identification as well. That would just be begging for disaster. I don't know, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. Let me know down in the comments. Now, before we move on, I want to give a shout out to Proton. Now, this isn't Valve's Proton. I'm talking about the privacy-focused email service, as well as other things. Now, they have a stellar reputation for providing cloud services that are secure by default, and you probably know them well for their email services, which they're known for, but they also have a password manager, collaborative document editing, VPN service, and more. And I have to tell you, I am not only a huge fan, but I'm also a customer of what they're doing. And if you want to help this show and yourself with privacy-focused services, you can use my affiliate links below. All right, now let's get back to the news. So Valve has dropped the Steam hardware survey results for August 2025, and we've got some interesting data to pour over here. Now, we can see that if we look at the historical trends, back in May, we hit an all-time high of 2.96% of all Steam users on Linux. In June, it fell to 2.57%, and then in July, we hit another all-time peak, this time coming in just shy of 2.9%. Some people were hoping for a 3% in August, but it actually declined to 2.64%, which is still the third highest Linux market share on the Steam hardware survey ever. And if we also look at my estimated monthly active users on Steam, now this number is based on several factors here. And if we extrapolate this number out, 2.64% of Steam users would equate to approximately just shy of 16 million Linux users on Steam. Another Linux-powered gaming OS just dropped. It's very exciting. We have Kazeta here. It's an operating system that they say is aiming at bringing the console experience of the 80s and 90s to modern PC hardware and games. You insert a cart, you turn it on, and you play. This is super exciting because this is how I prefer to play video games. If you've missed it, I actually have a dedicated retro gaming hutch over here. I don't know what to call it, with a CRT and a bunch of retro games. And so being able to do something like this, making my own DRM-free retro game cartridges on SD cards, it's super exciting. Now, I actually have an interview with Kazeta creator Alcazar that is coming out on Monday. But right now, exclusive to supporters of the channel, I have the full, lightly edited interview with Alcazar available to them exclusively. It's 38 minutes long, and the final video will probably be something more like 10 to 11 minutes. I haven't finished editing yet. If you want to check that out, there will be links down below for that. Now, Linux Mint 22.2 Zara just landed, and this is a big deal for new Linux users, as well as seasoned veterans looking for an it just works kind of desktop. Linux Mint 22.2 offers many improvements over the previous release, including the sticky notes now being compatible with Wayland, which is a big deal, a new login screen which has a frosted glass appearance, integration of a new fingerprint authentication app called Fingwit, new Libidueta support that now includes theming support, and a lot more. Now, this is an LTS or long-term support release of Linux Mint, and it will get security updates through 2029. This release also comes with Linux kernel 6.14, and it also uses Ubuntu Noble as its base. Altogether, an exciting update for Linux Mint users, which is still a healthy and growing community. And let me know if you'd like to see me test out Linux Mint 22.2. All right, our last story is arguably pretty huge. Valve has filed for trademarks of the Steam Frame mark, and it seems to comport with the rumors that we've been hearing for a while. So let's dig into the details. Their first registration reads as follows. Steam Frame trademark registration is intended to cover the categories of computer hardware, computer networking hardware, computer peripherals, computer hardware, and computer software for the reproduction, processing, and streaming of audio, video, data, text, and multimedia content. And their second says Steam Frame trademark registration is intended to cover the categories of computer game consoles for recreational game playing, video game consoles, video game accessories, namely controllers for video games. And these were filed on September 2nd, 2025, and that seems pretty clearly related to an upcoming hardware project from Valve. Now, speculation seems to lean towards this being related to Deckard, Valve's second generation VR headset. Valve data miner and resident VR expert Sadly It's Bradley has noted significant code changes in the latest Steam VR beta, where overlays like .isActive dashboard overlay has been renamed to .activeFrame. You can also see here, isActive dashboard overlay has been renamed to active frame, and you see internal frame versus overlay internal. The red is old, the green is new. There are a number of these changes that have been documented by Sadly It's Bradley, and you can check out the link to these down below. Although I will warn you, it's on the Hell site. Given that the Steam Deck was revealed the day after the trademark was registered, we could be seeing a reveal for what the Steam Frame is hinting at any moment. On the flip side though, there's no guarantee we'll ever see anything named Steam Frame being announced by Valve, since they once registered Neon Prime for the game that ended up becoming Deadlock. And they registered it years before Deadlock was revealed. But if Valve does announce new hardware, you're going to hear about it here on the channel, so make sure that you get subscribed. Overall, another amazing week of Steam Deck and Linux gaming news, and I couldn't be happier to be the one sharing it with you. Now, I want to take a moment and thank my patrons, my YouTube members, and my subscribers over on the Bryant blog. Now, if you'd like to see your name listed over here, you can use the links below to make a monthly contribution. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on Monday.